Okay, now we are on video number 3, in which we will focus specifically on sugarcane and sugar production in the country. This is going to be a slightly longish video, and there are very elaborate notes which have been provided as far as this particular video is concerned. So, and most of it is given in the form of question and answers. So that will make it easier for you when you're preparing for your exams. You know exactly what is the main point that you need to write. And of course, if the question is twisted in a particular way, you can add material from other answers, other notes which have been provided. But essentially, that's the meat of the answer that you need to specifically write on. So, agro-based industries, and we specifically talk about sugarcane. Okay. Now, as far as how big, when you talk about how big is the industry, now the sugarcane, India is the second largest producer of sugarcane in the world after Brazil, right? So it's a huge thing. In fact, recently we had the stock prices of many of the sugar producing companies going up because there was a crisis in Brazil. So Indian sugar companies were looked at having taken advantage. You know, all the Dalmia Sugar, the Balrampur Chini, etc., Renuka Sugar kind of companies, they all started doing well. This I'm talking about sometime in the middle of 2021. The low sucrose content, sucrose which is at the heart of the sugar content in Indian sugar cane, is seen as slightly less, and that is seen as one of the drawbacks as far as Indian sugar cane is concerned, because the canes are thin. The width of the cane is a little thin, and they are transported long distances, and this happens specifically in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Bihar, Haryana, etc. kind of states where they need to be transported long distances, and that's not a factor as far as Maharashtra is concerned. In fact, we will do a comparison between Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, look at it specifically. And what products are created from sugarcane? This is important again. Okay, please look at the notes, the products and the byproducts. You have good, which is jaggery. You have khandsari, molasses, bagasse, pressed mud, and of course ganne ka juice, that is sugarcane juice. Now, molasses is a dark colored syrup which is used for plastic, for synthetic rubber, for producing alcohol, for specialty chemicals, for industrial power, etc., fertilizers. So molasses in that sense is an important byproduct of sugarcane. You have bagasse, which is the rejected cane, which is after crushing. After you have crushed it, what the rejected part of it. So in that sense, sugarcane is a very robust kind of a crop, in that sense that, all parts of it, before crushing, after crushing, everything is kind of used very well, right? So after crushing, the cane which is rejected is used for the manufacture of paper, cardboard, and insulation boards in the field of electricity. Then you have pressed mud. Pressed mud is important because it is used for the manufacture of shoe polish, right? And carbon paper, and for the extraction of wax. And sugarcane juice, not really a byproduct, it's a product of sugarcane itself, that it's seen as a very refreshing drink. Then let's move to the next one. Here, what is the statistics as far as Indian sugarcane production is concerned? Now, in terms of area under cultivation, Uttar Pradesh is number 1. Maharashtra is number 2 in terms of area under sugarcane cultivation. Number 1 UP, number 2 Maharashtra, right? Now I have given the statistics in the notes, which is as per the 2020-21. So latest stats as far as that's concerned. Don't go by the stats in the book, but I don't think you will be asked the statistics. But if you need to kind of pad up your answer, if you asked a question, you can do that with the help of the statistics and write, what are the statistics which are given, and I have given the year also in terms of the area under cultivation. But in terms of the sugar which is produced, Maharashtra is number 1 and Uttar Pradesh is number 2, and we will go into the reasons why it is like that. That Maharashtra, even though the area under cultivation is less than that of Uttar Pradesh, it manufactures more sugar than Uttar Pradesh, and there is a reason for that, right? We will go into details of that. This one is important, and this is one of the more important questions that you could be asked as far as the sugar part of the agro-based industry chapter is concerned. Now, let's look at what I specifically said right now. Maharashtra's sweet love affair with sugarcane. Why is it having a love affair with sugarcane? The reasons are essentially 3-4 of them. Now, and along with Maharashtra, we'll also speak about areas in South India. For instance, Karnataka, both North Karnataka, Bidar, Gulbarga districts in northern part of Karnataka, also South Karnataka, the entire Kaveri belt of Mysuru, in particular Mysuru, Mandya. There also a lot of sugarcane is grown. I've traveled quite a lot there. I've shot at sugar factories in Bidar. Now, both Maharashtra and southern states like Karnataka have ideal geographical conditions, the right kind of climate, the right kind of soil, which kind of encourage the growth of sugarcane. Now, Maharashtra enjoys an extra advantage of marine influence because it's a sea belt, right? So, the ocean winds also help in the growth of sugarcane and increase the quantity of juice inside this sugarcane. And the recovery rate of sucrose is higher and the crushing season is longer. And the crushing season being longer is important because you get more time to actually process this sugarcane in the factories. If the crushing season is shorter, that means in a very limited time you need to take care of all the sugarcane which is produced, which is grown. If you have a longer crushing season, which means that the factories are kept busy for a longer period of time, right? So that crushing season duration becomes very important. So in that sense, ideal geographical conditions you have. Then the other important aspect is you have better plantations, right? The entire plantation is better planted in Maharashtra, Karnataka, even parts of Tamil Nadu, because they also use modern scientific methods. Then there is this powerful sugar lobby, and those from Maharashtra may be aware of this. If you are not, please read upon this. The powerful sugar lobby plays an important role. Many of the present time big ticket politicians of Maharashtra would have some connection or the other with the sugar industry. They would be sugar barons, as they are referred to. Sharad Pawar himself is known to be one of them, that they made their money from the sugar industry. And because they then came into politics, what happens is that they are able to influence the government to take decisions which would benefit the sugar lobby, right? The sugar factory. So in that sense, political influence plus the wealth they have created as a result of the growth of sugarcane and ownership of sugar factories has a synergy, okay, has a symbiotic effect. So the powerful sugar lobby ensures capital investments. You get more funds because politically they are well connected, and modern sugar factories are located close to the plantations, so you don't spend too much time in transportation. So your cane does not get dried up before it reaches the factory, the sugar factory. And you have good irrigation and fertilizers. Sugar cane is a water guzzler. It needs enormous amount of water, and one of the criticism against the growth of sugar cane in Maharashtra, especially the Vidarbha region, is that you have you have drought for many months in regions like Vidarbha. So wahan par whether growing of ganna, sugarcane, is really the ideal crop. That has always come in for criticism from people who understand agriculture. Okay. Then the main sugar producing area in Maharashtra is located also in a narrow belt from Manmad in the north to Kolhapur in the south. Kolhapur is in the southern part of Maharashtra. In fact, the moment you exit Karnataka near Bijapur, right? In fact, I have driven right from Bagalkot, Bijapur, Kolhapur, and then come into Hyderabad, Telangana. So, it's a beautiful kind of a stretch from Bijapur, Kolhapur, and then you come in there, right? So that entire belt from Manmad in the north to Kolhapur in the south is a sugarcane growing belt. Okay, so these are the reasons why Maharashtra and parts of South India are more suitable for sugarcane growing and the output of sugar than areas in Uttar Pradesh. So let's now look at what are the reasons why. First let's look at why sugarcane grown in a large quantity in Uttar Pradesh and parts of Bihar, and then we will look at the problem areas. Now, Uttar Pradesh is cane territory, sugarcane territory. In fact, one of the slogans that you hear around the elections in Uttar Pradesh is, the Ganna Kisan. How will the Ganna Kisan actually vote in the Uttar Pradesh elections? So, why is Uttar Pradesh cane territory? Is because of the availability of raw material, because the largest quantity of sugarcane is grown in Uttar Pradesh. The coal, whether for the sugar factories, etc., for the energy, etc., you get coal from Jharkhand, which is in close proximity. You have a well-established rail network. The entire Uttar Pradesh is very well linked with rail. Then you have skilled labor. Okay, this is Kanpur, which I've written, which is getting hidden by this. So Kanpur, skilled labor, again, because of the dense population of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, you have large number of people who would be willing to work in the sugarcane fields as well as in the sugar factories. And Kanpur is the chief distributing and marketing center for the sugar industry in North India. So in that sense, Kanpur becomes very critical. But why did the sugar industry migrate to the south? Why is it that when we say south, we say peninsular India? That is, the peninsular part of India, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Okay, not so much Kerala. Kerala is more of paddy. Okay, so also please remember, in both Frank Brothers textbook as well as in Morning Star textbook. In fact, I have made notes from my own research plus relied on 2-3 different textbooks. Morning Star, Frank Brothers, Frank, not Brothers maybe. Is it Brothers? Let me just check. Yeah, it is Brothers. Frank Brothers and also Evergreen. So I have looked at 3 different books and Oswald. So 4 different books plus my own research. So it's very comprehensive the way the notes have been prepared. So in both Frank Brothers and in Morning Star, there is a table which shows the important centers of sugarcane growing. I haven't put it out here because you can look at that table. Please try to remember some of the important names, a couple of them from each state, so that you are familiar with which particular area, city, town grows sugarcane. Okay, so just look at the table. It's there in both the textbooks. Remember a few important names. Now, in the 1960s, 60% of the total sugar production, listen to this carefully. In the 1960s, I'm talking of 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, 60% of the total sugar production used to come from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Why is it that it has migrated to the southern part of the country? This is an important question that you could get in the examination. Reason number 1 is climate. Okay, there are a whole lot of reasons. Both are the reasons. Okay, we will look at it, each one of them. Notes have details. Climate. What is the climate? Because of the oceanic climate, which I talked about, helping Maharashtra's case, even Karnataka to an extent, right? As opposed to, say, the climate which you would find in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar kind of places, right? So it's free from the effects of hot summer and winter frost, which you would find in North India, and therefore it is best suited for growing superior varieties of sugarcane, right? And the entire temperature range, 20 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade, in that sense, it's very ideal and there is no winter frost, as I said. The second one is soil quality. The Black River soil is more fertile and it's more suitable for the growth of sugarcane as compared to the soil which you find in North India. The black soil also has better drainage. The third one is the cane quality. The sugarcane grown in South India is of better quality than you find in North India, and that results in better yield. Then you have better transportation facilities in peninsular India. Then you have talk about the management part of it. Management, you have bigger farms managed more professionally, managed in many parts, especially Maharashtra, by cooperative societies. So in that sense, it's more democratized also, and political clout helps in getting better access to seeds, to fertilizers, to irrigation facilities, etc. The crushing season is longer, almost 100 days. This is important. The machinery quality is superior, which you find in peninsular India. The rainfall also more well distributed, right? So in that sense, you are in a better position, even climate wise. Plenty of water. As I said, sugarcane is a water guzzler, though I also pointed out the part about Vidarbha in Maharashtra, right? Then you have the sugar lobby, which I've already talked about in Maharashtra, and the location of factories which is close to the plantation. This is very important so that you don't spend too much time in transportation and the sugarcane juice is retained. Now, this is as far as the question about why the industry has migrated to the south from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar is concerned. Now, let's look largely at the problems faced by the chini industry, the sugar industry in North India. What are the problems that they have been facing? In comparison with peninsular India, you have smaller land holdings. So, the crop grown, there are smaller farmers who keep giving their own crops. So, in that sense, the land holdings are smaller. When you have large farms, you kind of, grow on a large scale. So, in that sense, the profits are also much better. The return on investment becomes that much better. The crushing season, which in peninsular India is almost 100 days, is much shorter. It could be 50 days, 60 days, 70 days, but much less than the 100 days crushing season, and that leads to the overall cost of production, increase in the cost of production. Then you have the climate, as I just mentioned, the climate factors from difference from Maharashtra, peninsular India as compared to the northern Indian states where there is winter frost, etc. Then there is the poor quality of cane, again the low sucrose content, and the transportation factor, the fields and the factories at a large distance from each other. The machinery also that they use is much more old, obsolete, and that also leads to inefficient production, right? Now, let's look at the general problems faced by the sugar industry. Ye to ho gaya specifically about North India. But generally, what are the problems faced by the sugar industries? There is a very active and a very robust committee, a federation of sugar also in this country. But what are the problems faced? One, of course, is the quality of sugarcane. We have been speaking about that. Cost of production, which is because of, the plantations and the factories being very far off, all those kind of things add to the cost of production. Low yield, shorter crushing season, all that adds to the location of labor kahan se aata hai, all that leads to the higher cost of production. Then the harvest. All sugarcane is harvested at the same time, leads to more pressure on the factories that, everything will come, otherwise rest of the year they are sitting idle. But when the crushing season happens, all of it comes at the same time. That puts more pressure on the factories to do that work of crushing, and that leads to wastage of cane because all the cane sometimes is not able to be processed. Then there is a supply issue, irregular supply, since the plantations do not exist near the factories. So sometimes it is supplied, sometimes it is not supplied. Then there is the price issue, that prices are fixed by the government. This is an important part. Please pay attention. Prices are fixed by the government. So when farmers feel unhappy with the price that is being given out by the government, they shift to other crops like cotton or other food crops. This is important. Then you have the byproducts like molasses, bagasse, press mud, etc. that I spoke about. So if the byproducts are used well, it can actually reduce the cost of production. But in many cases, the byproducts are generally wasted, right? They are not kind of, sent to other places where they can be put to other uses, like press mud. If you have a collaboration with a shoe manufacturing unit, right? So you can, after you have done with it, you can send it there so that they can make use of the press mud. Similarly, molasses, similarly, bagasse, right? So that kind of linkages become very important. And finally, old machinery, usage of old machinery leads to inefficiency. And in rural areas in particular, the demand for good and kansari is much more than that of sugar, right? Kansari is like brown sugar. So that also means that the demand for this white sugar is actually less, right? Last slide in this, sorry. Okay. Then a couple of other questions I have put in the notes. List the differences in the sugar industry in North India and Peninsular India, what I mentioned about. Please look at the points while the yield, what I have spoken about, I have put it as 4 points so that if you get a direct question asking you to talk about Maharashtra, Peninsular India and North India, you would be able to deal with it. So please do have a look at it. And also, another important point about the innovations which have been made in the field of sugarcane. Now you have this kind of research institutes which are located in different parts of India. One of them is in Coimbatore Research Center, a huge facility. Now they have developed a variety of hybrid cane called Coimbatore cane. Now what is this Coimbatore cane? This was done by crossing with plants like jawar, crossing sugarcane with plants like jawar, and that resulted in a better quality of cane. So, instead of saying that, okay, iska sucrose content is less, etc., instead of only cribbing, if the scientists can actually develop it, it actually works to the benefit of the farmers and the entire sugar industry. And in order to make sugarcane an round the year crop, instead of just confining it to the few 60 days to 100 days kind of season, new varieties of cane are being developed by these agricultural scientists, which will ripen at different times in the year. So what happens is, as a result, the sugar factories get a constant input of sugarcane produce. So the factories can also remain active through the year. This is very important. Otherwise, what's the point if you 9 months of the year or 8 months of the year you're not active, and only active during those 3 to 4 months of the year. And this will ensure that there is work for the farmer, for the sugarcane farmer, as well as the sugarcane factories through the year. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the sugarcane part of the agro-based industries. I hope there is clarity. It's not complicated. You just need to understand the 5 broad questions: North India, Maharashtra, comparison, problems faced. You need to know these various factors and you will be good to go as far as the sugar part is concerned. In video number 4, we will look at cotton, the cotton textile industry, and that is something very important. That's what we will look at in part 4 of this particular agro-based industries part of the entire industries chapter. See you now. Bye. Okay, now let's come to the video number 4 of the agro-based industries, in which we are going to look at cotton. Okay, this one specifically looking at cotton, what really happens as part of cotton, because India is one of the largest cotton manufacturing countries, textile manufacturing countries in the world. It's one of the largest exporters. It's one of the largest exporters of cotton. It supports 40% of India's workforce. In that sense, cotton is a major component in the way India actually earns foreign exchange. A lot of exports, right? And in that sense, cotton is very important in the overall economy of the country, right? Now, Mumbai is a major center, Mumbai or Bombay, as far as cotton textiles is concerned, because the first cotton mill started in Bombay in 1851, right? So you just see the importance of Bombay. The first rail link 1853, Bombay and Thane. First cotton mill 1851, Bombay. And a lot of things were happening at that point in time. And Bombay was considered because of its humid climate. I mean, these are the different reasons why Mumbai became a major hub for cotton textiles in the country, right? You had the availability of the port, well connected by road, rail and port, right? You had, it was called the Lancashire. Lancashire in England is where cotton is largely produced. So Mumbai was referred to as the Lancashire of India. The humid climate was suitable for spinning. That's again something, climatic factors that I spoke about in video number 1 becomes very important as to where you decide to locate a particular industry. The black rigger soil, what is also known as black cotton soil, it produces raw cotton and it's considered good. It's found largely in Maharashtra, also parts of central Andhra Pradesh. It's well connected, as I said, the Mumbai port, rail, road. The power supply is not an issue, and labor, because of large migration into Mumbai in particular, you get access to a lot of labor. Now, one of the interesting aspects is that, and I put that in the notes, is that Ahmedabad from 1930 onwards started competing with Bombay. Okay, and in 1947, when partition of India took place, it had its effect on the cotton textile industry of freshly independent India. In 1947, India lost about 80% of the irrigated cotton fields, because most of them were located at that point in time in western part of Punjab, which went to Pakistan, right? India also lost, as a result, 39 to 40% of its cotton yield and 30% of its market to Pakistan. So 1947 was in that sense a bit of ki reset button dabana tha. You needed to press the reset button as far as the cotton textile industry was concerned, because it retained many of the cotton textile mills. So there was a scope that there was a demand for a lot of raw cotton for the textile mills in the country. Now, coming back to why is Mumbai famous for cotton textiles? It's the center part, the cotton manufacturing industry. I spoke about all these different factors. The quality power actually is supplied by the Tata hydroelectric systems, and they are in different parts. Koina is there, Bhire, Khopoli, Bhivpuri. I put that all in the notes. I don't think you will need to remember, but the more times you read it, actually, you will actually remember most of it. Okay, so if you are an early bird, please ensure that you have written it down somewhere so that the more times you see it, visual memory plays a significant role. Visual memory is very important as far as geography is concerned. If you have written down these notes, which I have written here in your own handwriting, and read it multiple number of times, the more times you remember, yaad rahega. Page ke left bottom side pe I had written this note which I had circled. You will remember this. Trust your mind, but you need to put in that effort to read it multiple number of times. Now, there are two different kinds of cotton textile industry, right? One is the power loom, the other is the hand loom, right? Power loom largely in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. In fact, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, they account for 3/4 of the total output of yarn and cotton cloth in the entire country, right? You know, Baki country ek taraf, these three states on one side which produce 75% of the total cotton production in the entire country, right? The others are like you have in Andhra Pradesh, you have in Telangana, you have Karnataka, Rajasthan, MP, UP, Bengal. Okay, but they are the other 25%. The handloom is there in every state in the country, and every state has its own specific kind of handloom, right? You would know which part, what kind of handloom is produced by your particular region, your particular state, wherever you live in. Now, coming back to what are the advantages that Mumbai and Ahmedabad. I told you Mumbai was the early starter, but Ahmedabad started providing it competition from 1930 onwards. So what are the advantages that Mumbai and Ahmedabad have when it comes to cotton manufacturing, right? Now, these are the 8 advantages that they have. One, of course, is the climate, humid coastal climate, both for Gujarat as well as for Maharashtra, right? It favors the textile making without breaking the thread for cotton. Then you have the raw material, the availability of raw material. Right in the first video, we had spoken about how important it is for the industry to be located where the raw material is available close by, right? So all cotton producing areas are in close proximity. Then we come to the transportation factor, because both cities, Ahmedabad as well as Mumbai, are well connected by road, rail and the port. Okay, the port, Mumbai port, and then you have the Kandla port as far as Gujarat is concerned for export of finished goods. Okay, then we come to funds. Both are financial centers, Mumbai as well as Ahmedabad, right? So it enables, it gives them easy access to capital and financial and banking institutions who would be willing to lend them money to start a particular industry. Then you have labor. Okay, both Mumbai as well as Ahmedabad do not have an issue as far as labor is concerned, both skilled as well as unskilled kind of labor. Large part migration from UP, Bihar, etc. Everyone can be provided with employment. Then you have the power, the Tata hydroelectric systems I mentioned as far as Mumbai is concerned. For Gujarat, you have the Ukai and Kakrapara hydroelectric projects. Underline kar lena, yaad rakhna, Ukai and Kakrapara, UK, just remember UK, okay, and Gujarat. UKG, Ukra, Kakrapara, Gujarat, okay, ho gaya, UKG, as far as this is concerned. This will make it easier. Then you have the market. There's a huge market in both Maharashtra and Gujarat, and also in the rest of the country, which they can service and also export it to the Middle East countries. Now, the other area apart from Maharashtra and Gujarat, which also produces cotton and can be some kind of a competition. What are the reasons why Bengal, Kolkata is also a major cotton textile producing area? Okay, I haven't made this thing, so it's there in the notes. Very similar. Power, Jharia and Raniganj coalfields in close proximity, so that helps Bengal. Humid climate, sea. So Maharashtra ki tarah same advantage, Mumbai ki tarah same advantage Kolkata also has. It's well connected by road and rail, and also the Kolkata port. You have the water supply coming in from the Hooghly River, which helps in bleaching and dyeing, which is very important for cotton, right? So all the factors which were working for Maharashtra, Mumbai and Ahmedabad are also applicable to Kolkata, with one exception. The only exception being that the raw material is not in close proximity the way it is for Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Here they need to get the raw material from peninsular India, from the Deccan area. Okay, so that's the only disadvantage that Kolkata has, but the other things, it works to their advantage. Which are the cotton centers in South India? Again, please go through the list which is there in your textbooks. You have Coimbatore, you have Tirupur, which I spoke about earlier, Bengaluru, Madurai, they're all the cotton tract. In fact, Coimbatore is known as the Manchester of South India. Manchester again, which is a major cotton textile growing area in England. Now let's come to this slide. What are the problems faced by the cotton industry? The last slide, and this one is important. Shortage of raw material, right? Because the long staple cotton, there is another variety of cotton which is known as the long staple cotton that one finds in USA, in Pakistan, in Kenya, that is not grown in India. The variety is different. Okay, the SICK industrial units, many cotton mills in Mumbai also were closed down, and they are now major TV studios, etc. Okay, the cotton mills which are there, they faced closure because labor unrest, all those kind of thing, or financial issues. So they kind of have closed down, or lack of modernization. Then there is the loss of foreign markets, because there are other countries in the Far East, or Japan for instance, or China, they are able to make cheaper goods, right? So and reasonably good quality also. So that also, the foreign competition also is a major problem. Machinery, unless you are able to put in money to get in new machinery. Shortage of power, if that case happen, load shedding, power cuts, all that. If there is a load shedding, if there is a power cut, you mean to your entire work in that cotton mill will come to a grinding halt. I've seen that a lot happening in Coimbatore, right? In between, not so much now, but earlier in Coimbatore, when it used to face power issues, and during election time, that used to be one of the major demands of the cotton textile manufacturers in Coimbatore and in Tirupur, that we need 24/7 quality power supply. Okay, which is one of the reasons why, though I wouldn't say it's of the same quality, which is one of the reasons why you have a lot of windmill power being generated in that part of Tamil Nadu, Western Tamil Nadu. If you just drive down Salem, Erode, Coimbatore, Tirupur, downwards Madurai, downwards Karur, etc., you will find a lot of these windmills which are there. So they are trying to have alternate sources of power being generated. So power is a major component. Inadequate production, okay, various factors which have mentioned lead to this. Then there are strikes, which can be another big nuisance. Low productivity leads to frequent strikes, and that ends up kind of affecting the company. And then there is the competition from synthetic fibers, etc., which we will read about later. Rayon, terracotta, nylon, polyester, which are cheaper and also seen as more durable. So that all kind of leads to problems for the faced by the cotton industry. This can be another important question, can come for a heavy duty 4 marks. I have put in the notes, describe the manufacturing process. So please go through that. That's basically more scientific, but I put in there just in case, unlikely that you will get a question like that, but just go through it. So with that, we have come to the end of the agro-based industries. I hope it is clear. As I've been saying all along, read the notes, read the question and answers written there, copy it in your own handwriting, underline the keywords so that it makes it easier for you when you're revising it before the examination. Thank you very much for watching. All the best. Hello and welcome to Geography with SWS. Now, in this particular video, we'll be looking at the silk industry, which is an important component of the agro-based industries in our country. Okay, so silk, we have heard about Kanjivaram silk, we have heard about Banarasi silk, we have heard about Mysore silk, we have heard about Gadwal silk. So there are these kind of silk centers around the country. So we will be talking about Where does all this come from? And why is the silk industry such an important industry in our country? Now, let's look at the world of silk. And I've tried to put in a lot of photographs to make the entire video more interesting for you. And of course, the notes are there for you to refer to. Now, India is one of the largest silk producers in the world, right? There is monopoly. It basically manufactures 4 varieties of silk: the mulberry, eri, tussar, and moga varieties of silk, right? In terms of monopoly, it has a monopoly as far as the moga silk is concerned, which is produced only in Assam, the golden yellow color of moga variety of silk. Now, the first modern silk factory, and this is something which could come in the MCQs, the first modern silk factory in Howrah was established in the year 1832, which means many years before, 25 years before the first war of independence. And it was started by the East India Company. Otherwise, largely, silk is a cottage industry, largely speaking, though there are now units coming up, but largely it is seen as a cottage industry. In this photograph, you can make out the richness that is there in silk. And in any case, you would have seen many of your mother's silk saris. Now, how does the entire silk industry function? Now, it is based on sericulture, right? Farmers are encouraged to do sericulture. What is sericulture? The rearing of silkworms on mulberry leaves. You can see it in the photograph, right? Photographs, very important for you to get a context to understanding a particular concept or chapter. So the rearing of silkworms, the white color thing that you see on mulberry leaves, is called sericulture. The silkworm ka the scientific name is Bombyx mori, in case you would be aware of that. Now, mulberry silk is 90% of the total natural silk produced in the country. Out of the 4 varieties, mulberry silk is the Sachin Tendulkar of silk. Okay, it is the Virat Kohli of silk, right? It is complete monopoly, right? And India is the second largest producer of silk in the world. Okay, with an annual production of over 35,000 metric tons. These are the 2021 figures. Nearly 2.5 lakh hectares are under mulberry cultivation in India. These are the 2022 figures. Okay, now which are the main producers of silk? In terms of states, it's Karnataka, Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, and Andhra Pradesh, right? They almost contribute 92% of the total production in the country. Baki raha Assam mein jahan pe moga variety वगैरह hota hai, right? So in Karnataka, Mysore, Belgaum, which is also known as Belagavi, Mysuru, Bengaluru, Belagavi are the 3 main silk producing centers, right? Which you should be aware of, because Karnataka and Mysore in particular के बारे में भी question पूछा जाता है. Questions are asked specifically to Mysore and Bengaluru as far as Karnataka and Mysore silk is concerned. Karnataka contributes 70% of India's mulberry silk output. Okay, I hope you are listening and not just looking at Priyanka Chopra's photograph. Karnataka contributes 70% of India's mulberry silk output. Okay, and Assam, as I said, is the only moga producing state in India. Okay, there is the reason for Karnataka is that there are nurseries, there are silk farms, and licensed seed distributors. It has favorable climate for rearing of silkworms. इसके बारे में question answer भी मैंने अलग से लिखा हुआ है. Then there is the state-owned Chennapatna mill, which is a prominent factory with a good output and spindle capacity. Then there are these other centers which you should be aware of. 2 in every state would do. Bengal, Malda and Birbhum. Andhra, Visakhapatnam and Chittur. Telangana in Warangal, Karimnagar and Mehboob-nagar. Gadwal is in Mehboob-nagar district. The undivided Mehboob-nagar district, Coimbatore and Salem in Tamil Nadu. Then Bihar and Jharkhand focus on the tussar variety of silk in Palamur and Hazaribagh. And Assam is the tussar and eri and the moga variety in particular. As I said, it's the only moga producing region in the country, and Nagaon is an important district. All this I have put in the notes, which you can have a look at. Now, what are the problem areas? We need to know about the problem areas. One, the big problem, and this is a typical silk weaver at work. This is from Karnataka. There is competition from artificial silk. Okay, ये तो हो गया natural silk की बात, but there is artificial silk which is also manufactured. So there is stiff competition from the artificial silk because it is cheaper and sometimes even of better quality. Okay, then from China you have import of better quality raw silk. Okay, the quality of raw silk that is made by sericulturists in India is sometimes inferior to the kind of raw silk that is brought from China. Okay, so China competition is another factor, another problem area. Then the changes in the prices of raw silk affect the weavers and the entire silk industry. If there is major fluctuation in the prices of silk, then there is no systematic testing and grading of silk. That's again which you have in countries like Japan, which you don't have in India. And that is again a problem because you cannot gauge ki ye silk ka variety ka it's of a high quality and this one is not of such high quality. There is no proper testing method or testing centers at different parts of the country to ensure that. Then there's also the need for modern quality power looms in order to increase production, because when a weaver makes it like this, I don't know if you have ever seen weaving, but I have done a lot of documentaries on handlooms and the textile industry in this country. So I've spent a lot of time at many of these kind of, very dimly lit places inside the house where they do this weaving, which goes on sometimes to make a sari. It takes even up to 40 days of real hard work by this weaver who is sitting in one position and doing it very dimly lit room that you can make out in this photograph, right? Whereas power looms are faster. You can do things much faster, right? And they can increase production. So you need modern power looms to increase production of the entire silk output. Then the question about I said about why is the Mysore, Bengaluru or the Karnataka region so rated so high as far as silk production is concerned, right? This is Kirti Suresh, National Award winning actress from the film Mahanati. Now there is one, of course, the favorable climate. There is the availability of raw material. That's very important. Then there is modern technology and skilled labor, which is available because it has been there for many years. There is fresh water available for processing of the silk fiber. So all these are reasons why the Mysore Bengaluru region of Karnataka, southern Karnataka, is considered very favorable as far as the silk industry is concerned. Last question which you should be aware of also is, why is the silk industry such a labor intensive industry? Because the rearing of silkworms, the extracting of the raw silk from the silkworm, okay, almost like cotton ki tarah bahar aata hai, it requires a lot of manual labor. You need people to do that manually. Uske liye machines nahi lagayi ja sakti. So therefore, it is a very labor intensive industry and it provides a lot of employment to people in the rural parts of the country where sericulture is practiced. So with that, we come to the end of this unit on silk, very important, just like we have on sugar and cotton, which is part of the entire agro industry, right? Thank you very much for watching.